What is going on, everybody? It is your boy, back at it with another review, and today we are continuing our Karate Kid review series, and today we are going to be reviewing The Karate Kid Part 2. But before we get sexual, beginning of the video, what's up, guys? Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel, because number one, it's absolutely free. Number two, also maybe I'll be the YouTube algorithm recommend the video to more people, and maybe they could join. That's yeah. And do feel free to comment your thoughts on The Karate Kid Part 2 down below. But with that being said, guys, this is Grind 2. Let's give a quick plot synopsis of the film, shall we? So transition and shoes at me.
After learning that his father is dying, karate master Mr. Miyagi returns home to Okinawa, bringing his protege Daniel with him. In Japan, Miyagi is surprised to discover that his old sweetheart, Yuki, has remained single. Meanwhile, Daniel is attracted to Yuki's niece, Kumiko, but romance must be put on hold while Daniel and Miyagi deal with local bullies and long-harbored grudges.
Sorry. Oops. So with The Karate Kid Part 2, I've only ever seen this movie once, and it was a while back when I was doing my first Karate Kid ranking, and I thought it was okay originally, so I didn't have much expectations going back into it, this time around. So, and for those who did not know and who didn't watch my, full-length review of the first film, The Karate Kid is is tied with the Goofy movie for, like, my 10th favorite movie of all time. They go back and forth. So I love that film, but let's just get into the actual review of this film, shall we? Alright, so starting off with the good, I have Miyagi's character arc. I think probably the best thing about this movie is his character arc that he goes throughout this whole entire film, about how he's trying to find his family
And try to patch things up with his brother, but things end up going south, to say the least. But he keeps on trying to say, no, I do not want to fight. But brother keeps on not listening.
Along with that as well, I think the dynamic between Miyagi and Daniel is still strong in here. There's one scene in particular that's a really great moment between them two on the beach after Miyagi's father passes away that I found very, very touching, and I think it's one of the best moments of them two's like friendship, and I think that's definitely one of the best scenes of the sequel. As well, the change of pace of it not being in America is my final positive of the film. So in the first film, it was in California, and all the other sequels as well, it is mostly in the US of A. So it going to China, I thought was an interesting little thing to do for the sequel to make it different from the first film in some sense. So I thought that was a smart idea. But that is the good done. Now let's move on to the mixed aspects of the film. The parts I'm 50-50 about. First one I have in here is the love interest, which I'm going to talk loosely about this later, because it is one of my negatives of the movie. But the new love interest in here, I do like. I think she's a decent love interest. She's probably my second favorite of Daniel's love interests. However, there's a negative that comes with that, and I'll talk about that in just a little bit. But the final mixed aspect I have in here is the hurricane sequence. So there's this whole entire hurricane sequence later on in the film where I like some parts of it.
It kind of redeems one of our characters, but I don't know what necessarily the point of it was to be in this film. Maybe to add some more to Daniel's character arc, but that's pretty much it really as well.
But, ladies and gentlemen, that is the mixed done. Now, unfortunately, we move on to the bad. First bad I have here is the BS explanation of why Daniel isn't with Allie anymore. And they... Just play the clip.
She tells me that she's just fallen in love with some football player from UCLA.
Like, I get, again, that I said this with my one review of Final Destination 2, how they killed off Devon Sawa's character off screen. That whole entire explanation, I know I get that the actress probably didn't want to return for the film, but that is such a stupid explanation. And what's even worse about it, now that I think about it, it literally happens the next day after he won the tournament, I'm pretty sure. Which makes it even worse. Wow, way to make a character look awful. Which I haven't watched all of Cobra Kai, I just would like to point out. But if Daniel and her get back together, that's very crazy, because I don't know how Daniel would get back together with a woman that basically said, no, I think that guy's hot. I'm not gonna stay with you anymore. I'm just gonna go with him instead, even though you just won a trophy yesterday, and we just ended up becoming a thing, like, in a week, so I'm gonna go with this guy instead. That is so dumb. That is so, like, whoever wrote that, man, we need to talk. Because that is, yeah, if they're back together in the Cobra Kai series, oh, wow. Wow, I'm very surprised that Daniel would end up going back with her after that. Because if that happened to me, I would say, nah, I'm not getting back together with you. Pieces. That probably is the biggest negative of the film, but that's overdone and done with. Now let's move on to the next negative, and I can't even read my own handwriting. The cartoonish villains in here. So you have Miyagi's brother, which he's not really a villain. He becomes a good guy at the end, but yeah, he feels very cartoony. And look, in this film, he has a very, very, like, high-pitched, gruffled voice. Like, where he says, Daniel LaRusso! I will, like, in that tone. But there's parts of the movie where originally I would really talk about that and go, okay, it's his voice. But no, it isn't. He talks normally in the film where his voice isn't high-pitched at all. And he mostly just uses that gruffled voice throughout the whole entire film. I'm going, bro, calm down. Gee whiz. Then also the other villain in here, the main antagonist towards Daniel. His whole entire motivation for attacking him really is just because, oh, you didn't treat me with respect, which he did treat him with respect. He just didn't see it that way, I guess, which was just weird motivation for a villain, but whatever. As for the final negative of this film, I have not that much karate sequences in here. The only karate fight you really get in here is the final fight of the movie, which isn't in a dojo or whatever. It just happens in at a random temple or something. So that was a little underwhelming. Don't get me wrong, it's a decent fight, but I wish there was some more Karate Kid fight sequences in here. But you don't really get that, unfortunately, which was a major letdown, especially compared to the first film, where, don't get me wrong, it didn't have much fight sequences like in the beginning or the middle, but it saves all of the fight sequences that's building up towards the end of the film, where it's just, man, you call yourself the Karate Kid, but you're not gonna have that much karate matches in here. Yeah, it is what it is. But with that being said, that is just my thoughts on the Karate Kid Part 2. Now let's bring out the toxic meter. And I'm going to give this toxic goodness and a toxic disappointment. I think this is, and if you're wondering what that is in letter score, it's a C+. I think this is an underwhelming sequel compared to the first film. But I still don't think it's bad. I think it's okay. I don't hate it. There's some stuff to enjoy about this film. But on rewatch, I think if I'm ever binging through the Karate Kid franchise again, probably this is the one I'm going to rewatch the least, while it's not the worst. There's one that's the worst, which we'll get to in a review after the next one. which you're probably thinking, oh, you're talking about Karate Kid Part 3. Nope, I'm talking about the one after that. But yeah. Anyways, as I said before, my thoughts on the film. Be sure to let me know your thoughts on the Karate Kid Part 2 down below. But with that being said, guys, I'll see y'all next one, everybody. Peace.